Hey guys, I'm trying this YouTube live thing for the first time, so I apologize for interruptions or for going silent unexplained. I'm just trying to send up the screen here. I've brought up this sheet of my trades. They are mostly my winning trades. I've tried my best to account for my losing trades as well. There haven't been too many. It could be luck. If you will. But I have been able to amass quite a large number of net profits in, I believe it has been a little over 5 weeks. So I just wanted to take a moment here to obviously introspect a little bit of what I've been up to, but also to take a, a cross section view almost of like what were these trades in both the NQ and the ES? How did I approach the markets in general? How much of a role did strategy play? How were my tactics, my patience, my emotions, those kinds of things? And if we just look at, if we just take a look at this sheet, uh, we see, I guess, there is somewhat of a equal distribution of NQ trades as well as ES trades, but you will find that the setups um, are the same setups I use for both the instruments. I kind of label them accordingly. For example, the value area resistance setup shows up both in the NQ category as well as value area resistance over here in the ES category, right? What exactly happens? I took a brief note on like what exactly happened in either case. In the NQ case on the 19th of February, for example, which was my last trade right after my loss, after a loss over here, was a developing value area low break to one of the naked POCs, a prior volume point point of control. Similarly, on the other day, on the 17th of February, the same setup occurred in the ES, which was a developing value area low break to an initial balance extension, right? Some folks like to call these breakout trades, but I prefer to have my support and resistance zones that I want to name my setups after. It just helps me uh, collate and collect together the types of setups that I've been using and how successful have they been. So what I've done is I've taken in my journal, obviously this is my digital journal, I've taken an entry of each of my trades, the number of contracts, the number of I guess the profit or the loss points, what the dollar amount that means, and collected them together. And then, of course, written down for each trade what the setup was that I used, and left blank if there was no trade in the ES, for example. So I left this section blank. Most of the trades, as you can see, have been in the NQ the past 5 weeks. I guess I shouldn't say that. No, this month, I would say most of them have been in the NQ 9th of February here, but there is some gray zone in the NQ as well in January, let's say. Doesn't matter. I don't have a preference for the NQ or the ES. I just go for the setup. If the setup makes sense, I pull the trigger. I'm very aggressive that way. But I also use a lot of judgment and I guess patience. I really wait for the market internals to align with what the futures instrument is doing before I can take these breakout trades. Otherwise, if they are divergent, the internals and the futures, I tend to fade the moves. So that's how I think about it. Now, I'll just jump over to the pivot table here, the NQ pivot table, which is basically just shows me the net amount, the net profits for each of the setups that I've identified, right, in the NQ setups column. So as you can see that the first hour resistance and first hour support, the IB res and the IB sub, right? These two setups are my main breadwinners. They are my main breadwinners, right? So the number one setup is, well, I love fading apparently. Apparently, I love fading the NQ at its first hour low. This could be just a symptom of the price action for the last 5 weeks, where this has probably worked, or it has just fit my eye somehow. Not to say that the first hour high fade is not some, I should not say first hour high, which is not to say that the overnight high fade is not the best trade. I don't know that. I just didn't trade it as much, I guess, in the last, this sample set is just the last 5 weeks, right? So it's been interesting to at least collect this information. It gives me a perspective of what am I doing. I had these setups in my mind. I always had them. That's why I could take trades on them. But I never really looked at the success rate of each one of these setups before. So this is very helpful. I also find quite a nice, I find quite a nice surprise here that the value area resistance and support, which some folks will say, "Oops, I've got this wrong." Actually, um, some folks will say they are breakouts out of the value zones. Not for me. For me, a breakout is great, but for that you need to have sufficient initiating activity happening, and that normally will only happen at a support level, right? Um, okay, so this has been great as well. The value area, the VA resistance and support setups have been nice collectively. I imagine they've done well, but very interestingly, the VWAP has been a go-to. Fading the VWAP has been a very nice move for me, right? Fading the VWAP. Okay, so who knew? I wasn't quite sure if you'd asked me 5 to 6 weeks ago if that particular setup would be a good one. I wouldn't have known. But writing down the trades, and gathering your setups, collecting them together, and assigning value to them, and then going over what those values are. That has been a very good exercise for me. Anyway, for the NQ here. So this is awesome. Fading the first hour high fade. Fading the VWAP, these are very good setups for me. Now, coming over to the ES, let's see if I can just blow this up a little bit. Hopefully, you guys can see. Now, it's not exactly the same, is it? Fading the first hour initial balance, fading the first hour high is not something that I've done well, maybe because I was too busy fading the NQ. And I did not take corresponding trades in the ES. Whatever, doesn't matter. But on the other hand, fading the overnight high has been great. It is my number 3 setup in terms of the value that it provided me. Why is that the case? I don't know, maybe because the ES was near its overnight high when the NQ was near its first hour high. So I just faded both, and that's just how it worked out. It doesn't matter, but clearly the transitioning of value from an existing value area zone to another, either as a breakout to the upside, which would be right here categorized as a VS support trade for me, or a breakout to the downside, which would be categorized for me as a value area resistance trade, where it is just the instrument is transitioning from an existing area of balance to another one, right? That's the breakout, value area breakout downside, meaning it developed resistance at the existing value area edge anyway. Those two, not surprisingly, are the best trades in ES, right? Normally, when you trade the E-mini S&P futures, your best bet is avoiding all of the funky, uh, you know, uh, in-range moves. You're just going to be mopped up by the market makers. You're going to be mopped up, in all kinds of traps. The best trades in the E-mini S&P are value transition trades, and I thought I knew that, sure, coming in to this exercise, but to have proof now that it did contribute to most of the value I got from my trades is really remarkable, and I find that to be an excellent validation of this exercise. Okay, guys, so this is it. I didn't want to take up too much of your time. I'll just go back into the correct zoom level. Just wanted to show you my journal. Nothing is hidden over here. I might be needing to do a better job of my losses. I haven't been doing a very good job of recording them. I have oh, that's terrible. I have I have not had too many large losses, and fact the matter is, some of these trades are aggregated trades. I'll be honest. So, as an example, this particular trade over here, the 16th of February, two contracts on 20. Um, yeah, no, I don't think I had a loss, which I then kind of atoned for. No, these are all associated with the videos that I've posted anyway. So yeah, you'll find that all of these trades are have their source in a recorded video, so it's public information. Nothing fancy going on here. I did have some, I guess, markers over here, like for this trade, for example, the 10-point trade, which has been a very popular trade. I guess I got like 3,000 views on this video alone. I don't know what the big, what's so fancy about that trade besides the fact that it is a nice big trade on the ES. It was $1,000, but it was a overnight fade, right? And I didn't actually take an NQ trade at the same time, so that's interesting. But yeah, I didn't lose on that day. I did lose a big chunk right here. There you go. That's my failed trade. Good. I'm glad I have some losses here. Keeps everything real. Um, but I'll try and do a better job of recording my losses in future as well. I tried my best actually here, but it's been decent, I guess. Anyway, guys, so that's me. My first attempt at YouTube Live. Thought I'll show my journal, and I thought I'll show you guys my setups and how they performed. And that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Please keep watching and please do subscribe.